little.
Peaceful is a struggle for me. Don't pull up at 6 a.m. to cuddle with me. You know how I like it when you love me. I don't want to die for them to miss me. Yes, I
thought this was a good fitting song. God's playing.
I haven't been live in a minute.
Right.
They gon' tell the story.
You over here walking LA Dodgers and everything.
Come in here.
Man.
God's plan.
I hold back sometimes I won't.
Hey.
I feel good sometimes I don't.
Hey.
I finesse down Western Road.
I like that.
Me too.
Might go down to
Hey everybody. Good evening. Good evening.
Might go hard on Southside G.
Happy Wednesday. Today is Hump Day.
Yes. The trio is back.
Still.
On a Wednesday.
On the Wednesday.
Uh-huh.
A lot of bad things.
Hello.
We are listening to God's Plan by Drake. I had to look.
I like that.
Me too.
Bad things. It's a lot of bad things that they wish.
That they wishing on you. Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Hello. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. It is Alexia. Let me adjust my camera a little bit, bring it down a little. Your expert in evolution with the Legacy Podcast. And I will be hosting tonight's episode, which is the Mile High Club. We have an amazing, beautiful guest who's on with us today. We got exposed to her and we just had to have her on. And we're so grateful that she made time for us. But before we meet her, let me allow my beautiful co-hosts to introduce themselves.
I'll go last.
Hey, everybody, it's me, Jasmine, your divine diva.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Kia, your favorite inspirationalist. It is Wednesday, and I'm so happy to have you all here. It's good to virtually be with everybody.
I know. I miss you guys all together.
It's healthy. It is. I was like, I'm going to show up today, regardless of how I feel. We have a phenomenal guest. I'm so interested in just connecting with her. So I'm so excited for those who are tuning in because I think it's going to be a really great show.
It is. Well, let's not delay any longer. We have the beautiful Breaunna Ross on with us today. Now, she was born and raised in Louisiana, but currently lives in Dallas, Texas. Up until recently, she was employed by a major U.S. airline. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, she was furloughed, and her farewell speech from her last flight literally went viral. And so she's been on so many different news shows and entertainment outlets around the world. I think the most beautiful thing that she has done too, and she'll talk a little bit more about that. Actually, I'm going to save that for her to be able to share. But let's just say she is on to a new venture that I think we're all going to love, and she's going to share a little bit about that with us. So let's bring on Breaunna Ross.
Hi, guys. Thank you, ladies, for having me.
Hi, Breaunna.
Hi.
Go, Breaunna.
Hi, Breaunna.
So Breaunna Ross, we are here tonight. We're in Philadelphia, but we know you're joining us from the Central Time Zone.
Yes,
so thank you again for tuning in. For all of you who are joining us, Breaunna Ross, I want to actually play the video of that went viral, essentially. Right. So I think it would be great because if you haven't heard it, you know, just get your tissues ready.
Oh, goodness.
Get yourself together, all of that good stuff. I'm going to try to see if it'll allow me to share it and see if we can play it. Give me one moment. Let me know how it sounds, guys, when we go. If not, we'll just share the link.
Are you just on the audio?
It's like an audio and video.
I'm going to try to share the video.
I'm going to try. So not we'll do just the audio. Okay, here we go. Let's see.
When you open the overhead compartment, be careful, as items may have moved in flight. And thank you for choosing American Airlines. Take a moment to check your seat back pocket for any personal items, like tablets and cell phones. When you open the overhead compartment, be careful, as items may have moved in flight. And thank you for choosing American Airlines.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dallas Fort Worth. The local time is 7:22 p.m. We'll be arriving in Terminal D, Gate D17. If Dallas is your final destination and you have checked luggage, you may pick that up at Carousel D6. Before we go on separate ways this evening, I'd like to leave you with a few words. As all of you know, the airline industry has been impacted greatly by this global pandemic. Our routes and flying have been significantly reduced, resulting in our company having an overage in staff. For myself and one other crew member on our flight today, this means we will be furloughed October 1st. And unfortunately, this was my last working flight before that day comes. I will never forget seeing your faces today. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for the kindness shown on today's flight. I also want to personally thank each and every one of you for choosing to fly American today. While I have already begun my next chapter, there are many of my coworkers who have not. And because of that, I ask that you please keep them in your thoughts during this time. This job was an escape for me after being unhappy with my job after graduating college. It was a job that awarded me many opportunities. A job that I fell in love with. I've been to places I never thought I'd have the opportunity to go, and places I never knew existed. I've met people from all walks of life, and I've made friendships that will last the rest of my life. To my family at American Airlines, thank you for taking a chance with me 2.5 short years ago. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to see this big world. To my amazing crew, I wish each of you the best of luck. We were told in training to be like palm trees, and this is the perfect example. We may bend, but we never break. Finally, I have one last request for each of you today. With so much happening in the world, you never know how small actions can impact the next person. Please be kind to one another. Practice compassion with everyone. Live with acceptance of yourself and others. And until I see you guys in the friendly skies again, please take care of yourself and your health. I hope all of you have a wonderful night. And again, thank you for flying with us.
I get emotional just watching. Like I have chills.
Wow.
Oh man.
Wow.
So speechless is probably a little bit of an understatement. When I first saw the video on Instagram, so that was off of Breaunna's Instagram page where she had reposted it. And even just on that, on your page, it's up to about 20,000 views already. But I saw it through a friend of a friend's page, a young lady that I actually grew up with in Aliquippa. Her name is Brittany. And so I think she used to work for American, or she may still work for American, I'm not sure. But in any case, I just kind of saw it all over the place. And I was just like, what is this? And I'm listening to it. And I saw, we just had to reach out because it really was a testament, a real life testament of what this pandemic has brought for certain people.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my first thing, is just thank you for your transparency and your vulnerability in that moment.
Yeah, I went back and forth even up until the morning of my trip, if I was going to say anything at all. I was like, do I want to? Do I not want to? And I was talking to my best friend on the way to the airport that morning, and she was like, do you have your speech written? And I was like, no. And she was like, are you going to say something? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. So that day I did what we call a turn, which is where you fly from your base to a destination and you basically turn right back around and come back to your base. So my last trip was a turn. So I actually didn't write it until I was already, in the air halfway to Jacksonville, Florida that day. So I didn't, have it written down the night before, not even the morning before. I literally was, an hour, 2 hours before the last actual flight coming back to Dallas when I actually wrote, the speech. I jotted it down on my iPad. I was just standing there in our front galley and was just kind of jotting stuff down. And I was like, oh yeah, I like that.
Wow.
But yeah, like I said, I went back and forth. on whether I was going to say anything at all. And I'm so grateful. My best friend was like, I think you should go ahead and do it. You should. Because like, I never expected it to get to what it has. When I first shared it, I shared it just, to my family and friends on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And I actually had a flight attendant that I had flown with when I was based in Miami. She asked me to make it public so she could share it. And I was like, sure. So I did. And it was like, it took off. It took off. And then I didn't even post it on my Instagram until several days later. And then, of course, it was going viral on Instagram also. I was just like, oh, my goodness. Because like I said, it was not expected at all. At all.
Well, I mean, and Jasmine and Kia, I know you guys may have some questions for Breaunna, but I mean, it's just a testament to, one, make sure you keep you a good best friend. Right.
Right.
Right in your corner. But two, it's just, again, to stay true to yourself.
Absolutely.
That and conviction that you spoke with, it was very heartfelt, like we said.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the things that's coming up for me, I know you wrote it kind of like in those final moments, but it sounds like you and your best friend had a conversation about some final words that you did want to say. Like, what would you want that conversation to say? I mean, is that something normal that happens on people's last day of flying, or like what made that even be a conversation that you wanted to say something?
So I had seen previously, because I mean, the airlines have been going through this for months now. We didn't know if government was going to extend that payroll support program, which they still haven't. So for a lot of us at, all these airlines, we knew the day was going to come. There were people who took leaves. So some of them had their last flights, during this time. Since March, they had their last flights. So I had seen some people, just saying, short, thank you, this is my last flight, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't know. For some reason, I had the urge to say something. And then when I was thinking in my head, I was like, no, I shouldn't say something. I shouldn't say anything. So like I said, I went back and forth with it. And thankfully, my best friend was like, go ahead and say something. I think you should. I think it's a good idea. So I did.
We're glad you did.
I know.
So after you go out there, you say what you had to say and you record it. How did you feel afterwards? Like at that moment, like after you had said your last message, how was you feeling?
So immediately after I stopped and put the phone up, everybody on the plane started clapping. and I don't know if you can't really see it if you're not paying attention, but in the video, my number 3, which is what we call it, she's the flight attendant that was sitting next to me. She was so awesome. She was the one who was also getting furloughed. So as we landed that day, like when our wheels came down and we knew we're about to hit the ground, she grabbed my hand. And that's why I was like, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. And then she did that. And I was just like, oh, I'm not going to be okay. After we landed, everybody started clapping. When we got to the gate, just the response from all the passengers, it was truly amazing. Everyone stopped and was like, typically when we get to y'all are rushing to get off the plane. It's like, let me off. Excuse me, right? But everybody was stopping and was like, that was so beautiful. Good luck in your next chapter. I mean, somebody handed me some money. He was like, it's the only cash I have here.
Oh, look at that.
I was like, oh my gosh, you don't have to do that. And then also there was a lady who wrote a note to me. And in the note, she said that she made a donation to the Make-A-Wish Foundation in my honor.
Wow.
Yeah. So she was like, in the note, she says, I don't know your name, but I do know a child's day will be made because of you. And she was, just saying how touched she was, and she'll continue to keep me in her prayers. And she actually left her name and phone number. So we have texted quite a few times since then. And she put it in her calendar every Sunday. She prays for us.
Oh,
I know. I know. So sweet. So she was very nice. And then, I mean, honestly, when I left the airport that day, I don't want to say it was joy because, I wasn't happy, but I left with a full heart. Because it was a good day. I had a good crew. I mean, like I said, the response to that was amazing. So I left with a full heart.
That's important. And just by your emotion that you had as you were reading through it, and I heard you say that this was such a blessing for you, this new position, because you did not like the other role you were in. The only way you could speak with such emotion and compassion in your voice is because that meant a lot to you, this position. You talked a little about what's next. And so I know you had included it as a piece of your bio, but I thought it would be great if you could share a little about what you have been doing since that video and what the plans were that were in the work that you talked about.
So back, like I said, we knew things were happening. We knew the airlines are being affected. And I got to a point that I was like, what am I going to do next? What am I going to do? And I actually left a desk job that I was doing after I graduated college to become a flight attendant. And I knew I didn't want to go back to that desk job. So I was just like, okay, what am I going to do? I'm like looking at jobs. I don't want to do that. And came up with the idea because I enjoy skincare. So I'm currently in esthetician school. Wow. So, I actually started in September. We started the day after Labor Day. So like the week up until Labor Day, I flew. And then on the weekends, I would fly on Saturday and Sunday because I'm in school Monday through Friday. So, I was already in school, on my last flight, had been in for nearly a month at that time. So that's what I'm doing. It's about a 5.5 month program. I'll be done in February. I actually just phased up this week, Monday. So in the phase that I'm in now, I can start taking clients at school. So I'm really excited about that. Awesome. So that's what I'm working on now. But like I said in my video, I mean, even to this day, there's still a lot of my coworkers who haven't found the job. They're interviewing with places and they're, saying you're overqualified or you're not qualified enough, or, they're just trying to find their way after having something that we all enjoyed being taken away from us.
So. I am curious to know, because I know we know a lot of industries were affected and know more about the industry that they were in and how it was affected. I mean, you said that you guys knew, like, what was happening behind the scenes with you and your team members. What was going on? What were you guys being told?
Yeah. So, I mean, back like April, when everyone was scared to fly. I'll never forget. I actually transferred to Dallas in April. I was previously based in Miami, and my first day in Dallas at my base, I'll never forget it. I had a standby shift that day, which is where you go sit at the airport for a certain amount of hours. And say somebody's running late or, there's traffic or something, I go, I pre-board for them if need be. If they're not going to make it in time, I'm going on that flight and they'll, find something else to do with them. But I walked in the airport that day, and I'm sure you ladies know DFW is a big airport. I mean, it's a huge airport. It's huge. I walked in the airport that day and you could literally hear a pin drop. Wow. And it was so eerie because me being in Miami, every time I come through Dallas, it's like, we're going to Dallas. It's going to be busy. You got to hit that SkyTrain to get you, to get around to your terminal. But I will never forget. I walked in that day and it was so quiet and so eerie. And I was just like, man, we're going to be in trouble. We're going to be in trouble. So the company was very transparent with us from the beginning. Like I said, at that point when people were afraid to fly, people were afraid to even leave their houses. And they let us know even, I'm not sure exactly what month it was that they passed that first payroll support program, but they were like, if things don't pick up, it's maybe an issue in, several months. If the economy hasn't recovered by then, this may be an issue. And then also, I'm super junior with the company. I've only been flying 2.5 years, and I have about 1,200 people under me, seniority-wise. Okay. So I personally knew, If anything happened, I was going to be affected. I know there were some people who, and actually our furlough numbers were higher than we had expected, than they thought they were going to be. Yeah. So there were some coworkers who didn't think they were going to be affected that ended up being affected. So, I mean, it hit people hard. Hard. They were thinking they were going to be okay and they were going to be able to keep their job, and they ended up not being able to. So, like I said, I knew I was going to be affected because I'm so junior. So it was tough. Tough. So that's why I was like, what am I about to do? What am I about to do? Because
and it sounds like you had a little bit of time to, you knew that, and then you were able to kind of prepare, somewhat for that day. I mean, I was optimistic because we all were like, surely Congress is going to extend that payroll support. Surely. They're going to. So I would say about 90% of me, I was like, I'm going to get furloughed. But there was that 10% that was like, maybe the economy will build back up. Maybe Congress will pass something if the economy, and even whenever we got close to October, like August, September, and the airline CEOs were steadily in Washington talking to them, trying to get them to pass. I was like, okay, they're going to pass something. But even then, if they had passed something, I did put in for a 6-month leave so that I could get through my school. So, but the good thing about, if they ended up, even if they still do end up passing, is I get to keep my health care. Wow. Right now, I don't have health care insurance. So if they pass it, I get to keep my health care, and then I'll be on a leave for 6 months to get me through school and to take my state boards and all. But yeah, like I said, I tried to figure out what was going to be next. And I had the possibility in the back of my head that if they do pass it, I know I'll be on a leave because I know I'm going to start school. So, I know I'm going to not be able to work while I'm in school Monday through Friday. So I had that, back there too, but it was crazy. It was crazy.
I know you said you were very optimistic, and it definitely comes through even kind of in your conversation. And just hopefully those who are tuning in with the Legacy Podcast, as we're here with Breaunna Ross. She is the flight attendant. If you haven't seen the video, you probably have a friend of a friend that did. But her video went viral as she was giving her farewell speech on her last flight, impacted by COVID-19. This pandemic has absolutely, not just from a health perspective, but an employment perspective, really, really devastated a lot of people. So we thank you so much again for your humility and your transparency. I guess one other question that I had was, did you get any response from the airline? Did anyone from the airline or anything reach out? Had they seen your video?
Yes. So, we have like our Facebook work groups that, we all post in. So the feedback, there's actually a Facebook group that I don't know who started it, but back when everything was getting hit hard, it's like airline people from literally all over the world in the Facebook group. So when I tell you, I have had people like airline and, just regular people also that are not in the airline industry reaching out to me from all over the world. All over the world. And then the CEO of my airline, he actually called me. Wow. And it's such a funny story because me and my roommates, we were getting pizza. We're literally sitting in the restaurant waiting for our pizza to come out, and my phone rang, and I didn't recognize the number. And, reporters were calling and texting steadily. So I was like, if it's a reporter or whoever, they'll leave a message, right? So the phone stopped ringing, and I got a text message that was like, hey, Breaunna, this is Doug Parker with American Airlines. Give me a call when you get a chance. I was like, I was literally like, oh my God. Right. So I called him back, and I've actually met him before. He was actually at my graduation. So the year that I graduated, he would pop up at graduations all the time and just kind of be there on the side saying hi and all to us when we were walking on the stage to get our wings. Yeah. So, I know his voice. So he picked up and I was like, oh my God, it's really him. But yeah, he said that he saw my video and, you know, how touched he was by it. And he was like, I'm so thankful that you're on my team. And he called when he was calling. He said, I'm actually calling you from my hotel room in DC. I'm still up here fighting for you guys. I'm going to get you back as soon as I can, I promise. And I was just like, thank you. Thank you. I was a mess, girls. I was a mess. But yeah, I have seen some of my coworkers who, I mean, of course, there's people who work for us that are from, you know, other continents. I had a coworker that shared on a work page that I was on the news in Taiwan.
Wow.
And I know. I've had people from like India, the Philippines, Australia, South America. Literally every
like the voice of the airline.
That's what everybody was saying to me. They were like, thank you for speaking for us. And, you know, and I mean, I was not expecting I was not expecting it at all. But they were like, thank you for being a voice for us. And then another big thing everyone was saying was, you know, all this time when they were getting close to October and we knew, you know, furloughs were probably going to happen. When news stations would show the numbers, you know, this company is going to have to furlough 10,000 people. All people see are numbers. So they were like, you put a face behind the number, you know? So, yeah, I'm so grateful. I was never expecting this response, but what I've gotten out of it, I'm so grateful. So grateful.
I think one of even my biggest questions too was when you think about what has occurred, like what are you grateful for? You know, just from this happening and what your life is like now. Like, how do you still be grateful? You know, you've lost your job.
Yeah. So, I mean, this was something that I had to learn, and it was something I had to learn over time. When it's a situation that you can't do anything about it.
How do you know? Yep.
I could post videos all day, but that's not going to change the state that my company is in, you know? So I had to, I guess you could say, grieve it, because I mean, I to this day, I miss my job. I literally pass by the airport every day going to school. Wow. I see airplanes in the sky like all the time, and I look up and I'm just like, So yeah, it got to a point where I just had to, you know, accept it for what it was. And, you know, like I said, I had started my next chapter, and there's people who haven't, so I'm grateful for that. So and then also the town that I'm in, y'all would laugh. The town that I'm from, I'm sorry. Y'all would laugh if y'all went there. It like super small. We don't have a stoplight. That's how small it is.
Oh, we do have a stop. I'm from a small town too, but we do have a stop.
We don't have a stoplight. It's one of those small towns where, you know, everybody and their mama and their grandparents and their aunts and uncles. Yeah. So like the places that I've been that, you know, I never thought I'd be in Paris. Yeah. I remember the first time I went, I was just like, wow, like just sitting there at the Eiffel Tower, just like, wow, like I'm really here. And like I said in the video, I've been to places that I didn't even know existed. So I'm grateful for the opportunities that the job gave me. But I mean, I got to a point where I just had to accept what was happening and move forward.
Yeah, I think that's a good piece for all of us, because some of us are in industries where there's so much work. Some of us are in industries where there's not enough work, and all are being taxed or challenged or, you know, feeling something emotionally. But to your point, it's like you have to find something that you're grateful for. And, I think that's what helps to keep you grounded and allows you to recover from whatever it is you may have experienced and going forward. So I hope all of our listeners are really like hearing that point, because I think all from this pandemic, from this COVID, are experiencing something, if not that. And we're trying to find a new normal, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it is, again, for those who may just be tuning in or even tuning in to the pre-recorded version, we are with Breaunna Ross. She, again, is the flight attendant whose video went viral as she shared her heartfelt speech about how the pandemic impacted her and what she decided to do as well. Again, there's a lot of ways that you can transition out of work. Some people take to being negative about it and use social media platform. But it's a blessing to see it being used in this more positive way. And just to show that, again, there is a face behind a lot of these things that are going on. So as we're ready to kind of wrap up for today, Jazz or Kia, do you guys have any other questions for Breaunna?
I don't have any questions. I mean, I just celebrate just your courageousness. Like Lexi said, just your transparency, not just the American Airlines industry, but just for all industry, just for human. I think we needed that as humans, right? Sometimes we got to get back to the core of things and the reality of things, that we all are human and we all are experiencing something. And it just felt unified, right? It didn't feel like we were alone. So I just appreciate you just for being you and just for showing up, even if it was, challenging to do, you did it. So I hope in everything you do, you just continue to do that.
Thank you so much.
Yes. And keep encouraging people like you have been. Jasmine, can we hear? Want to try to speak? Okay. She's having some audio challenges here. Well, as those, Breaunna, know who tune in with us, we do like to make sure that we give an opportunity for our guests to share where they can find out more about you, follow your journey. I think you are going to continue to be an inspiration. I don't think, we know you're going to continue to be an inspiration. We're looking forward. And it's so interesting, right? So you went from one area of service and supporting people as they travel for business and luxury and pleasure, now to another service-driven industry where you're going to provide that same sort of hospitality. And just listening to you, I know your customer experience is going to be amazing. Your spa, can't wait to come visit it. It's going to be in the Dallas
come
area.
See me.
Right there. But where can people stay in touch with you, keep following your journey, and even support you financially? Because I know there was some GoFundMe and stuff going around there. And there's a lot of ways to show support, one of which is that cute little $. So where can people stay in contact with you?
So my Facebook page is under my name, Breaunna Ross, BreaunnaRoss. My personal Instagram page is BRoss216. And then I also have an Instagram page to kind of follow my journey through esthetician school, and that is Beauty and the Bree, BREA _.
That's
like Beauty and the Beast, but Beauty and the Bree. And I do have my personal, my esthetician page tagged on my personal page. Okay. And then I have shared the GoFundMe that someone made for me on my Facebook page, and the link is also in my bio on my personal Instagram.
Awesome. Thanks so very much again, Breaunna Ross. We appreciate you. Jazz, I see you went out and came back in. We got the sound now.
Yes, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. So one of the other things we like to do is close out with a wonderful quote. And Jasmine, our divine diva, is like amazing with finding the most pleasant and appropriate ones.
Okay.
All right. So as long as y'all can still hear me, before I read the quote, I definitely just want to thank you for being on and sharing your story with us, and inspiring our listeners just to keep pushing and being positive no matter what their situation is. So thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Once you have tasted flight, you will forever walk the earth with your eyes turned skyward. For there you have been, and there you will always long to return. Leonardo da Vinci.
That's beautiful. I love that.
So true.
I love it.
Wow. Well, thank you so much to everyone who tuned in with us as we shared this beautiful experience with Breaunna. Thank you again, Breaunna, for giving us some of your time today and inspiring us. If you want to continue to follow our journey as well, because as you can see, we are all about creating, living that legacy so that it's impactful. And Breaunna just showed how you can do that. We are on Facebook and Instagram, the Legacy Podcast Philly. Our website is legacypodcastphilly.com, where you can also click on the link to join our affiliate program with StreamYard at our website, again, legacypodcastphilly.com. Go back. We have just put up some new episodes for our podcast, so go take a listen wherever you can find podcasts, Spreaker, iTunes. Spotify, all of those places that podcasts live. We thank you so much again for joining us. And always remember to chase your dreams
and leave
your
Thank you,
legacy.
ladies.